Welcome to Nunavut. Nunavut, created in 1999 to settle Inuit land claims, carved out of Northwest Territories, Canada's largest territory at over 800,000 square miles. Nunavut would be the world's 15th largest country, about as big as Alaska and Montana combined. No roads connect these remote and lightly populated settlements. Nunavut is the only geopolitical region in North America that is not connected by road to the rest of North America. Aurora Borealis, Nunavut. A three-season delight. Only summer sun washes them out. Regional criteria. The fierce and hospitable nature of the physical environment is impossible to ignore. Sparse population, only around 34,000 people in total. Population density is less than 0.04 people per square mile. By comparison, New Jersey has over 1,200 people per square mile, and even Alaska's 1.3 people per square mile means that it is 32 times more densely populated than Nunavut. Repulse Bay, Nunavut is an example of urban life in Canada's frozen northlands. Nunavut is vast, rugged, wild, and never crowded. Climate. Dominant feature, cold. Average January temperatures to -40 degrees Celsius or -39 degrees Fahrenheit in parts above the Arctic Circle. Temperatures as low as -60 degrees Celsius or -76 degrees Fahrenheit possible. Long winters, short frost-free period. Only 14 days frost-free along parts of Arctic Ocean. Less than 90 days frost-free over most of the region. This is too short for agriculture. Precipitation. Nunavut is very dry and average less than 6 inches precipitation per year. Two major reasons: its cold northern latitude home of a dry Arctic air mass, winters frozen Arctic Ocean. Thermal high pressure and little moderation from warm water. Even though total precipitation is low due to thermal high pressure, it does not take much precipitation to produce whiteout conditions due to near constant high winds and blowing snow. Adaptations to the extreme conditions include electric block heaters for engines or just letting them run. Tractor tread wheels can also be employed for conditions where even four-wheel drive alone will not provide enough traction. Tundra over most of the region, subarctic and south. Brief cool summers' highest temps rarely reach 60 Fahrenheit. Great shifts in length of day. North of Arctic Circle, 66 degrees 30 minutes north latitude, results in darkness for at least one 24-hour period in midwinter, and one day in midsummer with 24 hours of daylight. The low angle of sun's rays is a summer given. The sun is never high in the sky. A time-lapse photograph illustrates how the summer sun circles you without ever giving a sunburn. Permafrost. Subsurface layer of permanently frozen ground. Maybe a few inches to more than 300 meters or 1,000 feet thick. Effects. Construction of buildings is difficult and costly as piles must go deep into permafrost for stability. Elevation is a must to protect the frozen ground from the heat of buildings. The same reason the Trans-Alaska Pipeline is elevated. Anything warm on the ground will melt some of the permafrost and cause the ground to shift. This can break buildings apart. New, elevated construction. Another example of a building with an airspace insulation underneath. Extent of permafrost. As you can see, most of Nunavut is tundra that is underlain by permafrost. Nothing is easy here. Vegetation. Taiga, boreal forest. Small coniferous forest across small southwestern part of the region. Slow-growing and short trees. Tree line. Transition zone with gradually smaller and sparser trees until no more trees can survive the conditions. Boundary between taiga and tundra. Tundra, vast majority of Nunavut. Conditions too harsh for trees. Lichen, grasses, mosses, and shrubs and lots of exposed rock. Very little soil. While the growing season is too brief for trees and nearly all crops, about 1,700 species of plants live on the Arctic tundra, including flower plants, dwarf shrubs, herbs, grasses, mosses, and lichens. Boulders everywhere, and if you were to clear them for some reason, more would rise up from the ground in an amazing process known as frost heave. Wildlife. In addition to narwhals, whales, Arctic terns, caribou, walrus, wolves, and polar bears, Nunavut is also the primary home of wild North American muskox. Arctic ice, 3 to 6 meters or 10 to 20 feet thick but rugged. Salt-free, floats on Arctic Ocean. Expands in winter to enshroud entire Arctic coast of Canada. Holds as much water as all freshwater lakes in the world, usually. Effects. Minimizes moderating effect of Arctic Ocean on climate. Limits oceanic transport. The ocean's salt content means that the freeze point is lowered to about 28 Fahrenheit instead of 32 Fahrenheit. Native peoples. Inuit. Predominate in most of the Arctic. Culture extends from Siberia to Greenland. Most recently arrived with Native Americans 4,500 years ago. Traditionally lived by fishing and hunting. Traditional diet. Common foods include fish, caribou, whale blubber, and walrus, along with traditional bannock bread. Canada's Inuit population. Not surprisingly, most Inuit live in Nunavut. Canadian population distribution. Canada's giant territories nearly disappear on a population cartogram, while the tiny Atlantic provinces of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island surpass them. Mining. Diamonds, iron, and gold. Dig it! Nunavut's wealth is tied to its fantastic natural resources. At least this isolated mining community is easy to see from the air. Transportation. Pervasive isolation, sparse population. No highways connecting the region. Light airplanes including floatplanes with bush pilots. Canoes are often used in summer to navigate around Nunavut in summer, while in winter, snowmobiles, dog sleds, ATVs, and SUVs are used. Of course, planes are used year-round to transport people and supplies over Nunavut's vast territory. Here is an example of a floatplane on Sand Lake. Canada is known as the land of a million lakes, and while Quebec has over 1 million by itself, Nunavut has plenty, and their liquid runways offer a vital link to the outside world. Mail and supplies come largely via air. Imported goods, including food, are very expensive. Groceries in Nunavut. Most Inuit only ate traditional foods until about 50 years ago. Just look at these prices. Ouch! Tourism. Everything from float edging and fishing to kayaking and dog sledding awaits you in Canada's winter wonderland. A good sign is one tourist draw, especially if it is well placed. How does Iqaluit, Nunavut's welcome sign, compare to the Northwest Territories and the Yukon's signs? An ice hotel would be a natural fit up here. Quebec's is located just outside Quebec City in southern Quebec, which is over 1,300 miles south of the Arctic Circle, yet it still opens for nearly 3 months every winter. Dog sledding is another way to draw tourists to the north during the brief summer. In this perfect trifecta, the dogs get in shape, tourists have a bucket list experience, and the owners get paid. Nunavut's Mount Thor is located in Baffin Island, which at 195,000 square miles is Canada's largest island and the 5th largest in the world. Thor Peak has the world's greatest vertical drop at over 1,200 meters, and only the most adventurous base jumpers come every summer to drop off. Of course, winter offers its own possibilities, like this safe and popular way to see the polar bears up close and personal, but not too close. Camping in Nunavut. Be careful though, many expressions have different meanings up here. Why not drop in and check out Canada's true winter wonderland?